Hi, I'm Megan. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you 3 different ways I like to cleanse my space of negative energy. When I'm working in my kitchen, preparing food, tea, medicine, whatever it may be, it's important that I stay focused on what I'm doing to avoid mistakes and to prepare something of quality. It's also the perfect time for me to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the main ingredient for me to keep negative energy at bay. When I'm obsessing over the past or worrying over the future, I can get negative real quick and spread it to everyone around me. Something I like to do to help me transition into a more mindful state of being is to try to cleanse my space of negative energy. There are 3 main ways I like to do this. Through smoke cleansing, by using a simmer pot, and my most recent discovery, this Tibetan Singing Bowl that belonged to my father. Smoke cleansing has been practiced for thousands of years by many different cultures, not only for spiritual practice, but also for health purposes. Smoke cleansing is essentially burning herbs and resins to produce smoke. Now, there are a few ways you can do this and many herbs you can use, but today I'm going to show you how to make a cedar bundle. To help me demonstrate, I'm going to bring back my sister-in-law, Angie, since she has such a great time with me. This is a cedar bundle I made just before Christmas, and it's dried and ready to be burnt, but it does take several weeks for these to cure. When you're making your cedar bundle, you want the herbs to still be flexible, pliable, and not completely dry, or it's just going to crumble all over the place. This is Eastern Red Cedar, also known as Juniperus virginiana, which I think is a beautiful name. It smells good. So, the first thing you're going to need are scissors, your herbs, and just regular old cotton cooking twine. I need a pair of scissors too. So I've got a big branch here, and I'm just going to kind of pull these apart. Okay. Get your branch there.
Do you need a big one, or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter, whatever one you start with. You just don't want it to be too spread apart, so I'm going to pull these apart and make sure to cut all the big chunky pieces of stem off, because those aren't going to burn very well. So I'm just going to cut these big chunks of stem off, and I'm going to try to stagger my branches. Try to make sure I don't leave too many holes in these, because I'm going to fill this with lavender. So now that I've got my first layer assembled and I've got my lavender here, I'm just going to start putting a second layer on the same way that I started the first layer, just staggering it like this. Stem up, stem down, stem up, stem down. And you can fill your smoke bundles with any herbs you want. Sometimes I use mugwort, sometimes I use rosemary. You can also just make cleansing bundles out of rosemary and lavender and mugwort too. I just have access to this red cedar, which is why I use it a lot. And Angie brings up a great point. I don't like to waste anything, and I try not to ever take more than I need. So the next thing we're going to do is take our cotton cooking twine and get you a pretty good length of this, really good length, because we're going to wrap it around this bundle multiple times, at least 2. And then I'm just going to split it in half like this and try to slip it under here without disturbing it too much, which is pointless because I'm going to make a mess anyway. And just tie it down as tight as you can get it, like you're doing a Christmas bow. Just kind of tie it down and put your finger in the middle to hold it in place there, and then tie it off again. Oh my gosh, I've got such a long piece of string, I don't know where the ends are. Okay, I think I found it. And then you're going to take one of your ends and just start wrapping it up. If you're losing herbs or pieces of...
I am
too. It's okay, just scoop it up. Just lost a bunch there. And just stick it back on here. Pop you a leaf over top of it. And fold it back in. I mean, you're going to lose some. It's okay. Just keep tightening it as tight as you can. You want to get it pretty tight because as it dries, it's going to shrink. And I'm going to stop again and put my lavender flowers. Oh my gosh, this lavender smells so good. Just saying it's bedtime, Megan. And then once you get to the end, just start to tie it off into a knot. And I think what I'm going to do is add some rose petals.
Ooh, those are so pretty.
I know, I love this orangey, yellow, red color. I'm just going to add these rose petals to the top of my bundle. I think it's so pretty when people do this. And so I'm just going to take my petal, my rose petal, and lay it on top. And take my other length of cooking twine that I haven't wrapped with yet and start to wrap these rose petals on. Again, just collecting the pieces that are falling out and kind of tucking it under the petal there as I work my way up.
This is looking really pretty.
Yeah, that looks really good.
I love the orange, yellow.
Yeah, I bought these roses at Kroger the other day, and they were sitting there lonely in the clearance section, and I'm just such a sucker for the flowers that didn't go home with somebody, and they're all lonely in the cold grocery store. So I usually end up taking a lot of them home with me and hanging them to dry and using them for crafts or whatever.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't ever buy flowers full price. I always go for the ones that nobody wants. So whenever you're done tying your rose petals on, then we can start trimming the ends off of these and just kind of cleaning them up a little bit.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, so what you're going to do now that your bundle's all nice and tight and tied together is just start trimming it up and cleaning it up. So start with the ends and start just kind of trimming those up. And then I just start to kind of clean up these pieces that are sticking out here. Try not to cut the string. We're gonna have to start
Unravel.
over. Yeah. And I have done that before. Surprise, surprise.
Okay. How's it look?
It looks great. Beautiful. Ta-da. So I've already got a
Me too.
length of string left over, but if you don't, you can just tie a piece of string around the end, and then they're ready to hang up to cure, and they should be ready to burn in 3 or 4 weeks. The next thing I'm going to show you to cleanse your space of negative energy is a simmer pot. And I think this one's just about ready to go. I love to make a simmer pot, especially on cold evenings. They arouse in me a sense of nostalgia and warmth. It reminds me of being a little girl and seeing the big pot simmering on the heater in the living room. So today I'm going to show you how to make a simmer pot that has all those really warm fall, winter scents to it. And so what I've got here are the scraps from my cedar bundles, because like I said, I don't really like to waste anything. And this is a scrap bag I keep in the freezer, so anytime I peel an orange or an apple, I'll keep the scraps in this bag and keep it in the freezer. And sometimes if I accumulate enough apple scraps, I can make apple scrap jelly, or I can, like I said, do a simmer pot. I've got some pieces of ginger in here. I also keep a veggie scrap bag in my freezer. Every time I peel a vegetable, celery, onion, carrot, I just pop it in the freezer bag, keep it in the freezer, and when I accumulate enough, I can make veggie stock. And I just keep adding to the bag. As you can see, there's all kinds of layers of different things in here. So, let's see how this is doing. I'm gonna get my water good and going here. It's not quite boiling, but it's good. So I'm just gonna add in a clump of red apple peels. Big chunk of orange, still has the pulp in it. I guess I must have juiced this one. And I saw a chunk of ginger. I'm going to add this scrap of ginger in here. the orange peel and the ginger also have antimicrobial purposes. So as the steam rises, it's cleansing the air. I'm gonna add my cedar, give it a nice Christmassy smell. And this is my beautiful dish that my husband made when he was young. I think he told me it was actually an ashtray, but I don't use it for an ashtray. And a cinnamon stick, and I'm just going to break it, kind of release some of the oils from that. I've got some clove buds here, and clove and cinnamon are both great for cleansing. And I'm just going to crush them a little bit too, just to help release the oil and really get that smell going. I've got a couple cardamom seeds. Just going to crack those a little bit and add those in. And a beautiful star anise. Smells like licorice. So a little kitchen witch tip here. When I'm stirring, I want to be stirring with intention. So since my intention for this simmer pot is to cleanse the air and to remove negative energy, I want to stir it counterclockwise. Oh, it smells so good. It smells like Christmas. It doesn't really matter how many times you stir it. Just focus all your intention for the simmer pot into the action that you're taking. Anytime you want to add something to a recipe, like say I'm making my husband's favorite carrot cake for him and I want to add some of my love to it, I'm going to stir it clockwise because I'm adding love to it. I'll usually let these simmer pots go until there's about 2 inches of water left in the bottom. I don't want to burn the ingredients because then that's just going to cause a big stink. So usually it'll last, if I keep it on medium, it'll last an hour or two. Of course, you don't have to. You can turn it off whenever you want. Put the lid back on it. Put it to the back of your stove and turn it on the next day or just later on that evening or whatever you want to do. The last method that I use for cleansing my space is this Tibetan Singing Bowl. It's beautiful. It's got a Buddha in the middle of it. And this bowl belonged to my father, and he got this from the Tibetan monks that used to come visit our town every year. They haven't been here since COVID started, but I'm sure, and I hope they'll be back. But Dad loved to go visit and spend time with the monks, and they sold their crafts, their incenses that they made, their singing bowls, and I didn't even know what this was. I saw it on his dresser. I didn't really pay much mind to it, and then after he passed and I started going through his things, I realized it made a noise. And I didn't know how to use this, so I had to look up online how to use it, and finally I figured it out. And it takes a little bit of practice, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. So usually they'll come with a pad to sit on, because if you hold it in your hand, you're just going to mute the ringing. So it needs to sit on this pad on a surface, or when you get enough practice, you can hold it in your hand, but you don't want the bowl to slide around on the pad and slide off your hand and break on the floor. So make sure it's sitting on a pad of some sort, and it'll usually come with a mallet, and this mallet is padded. And I'll just let you listen. So that's what it sounds like when I hit it once. And the way you get this to sing is to rotate the mallet around the bowl. So gets really loud. And it puts me in a trance, and you can hear it just vibrating through space. And I mean, it's pretty mystical to me. It feels like it's just vibrating through space and time. So the theory behind this singing bowl is that it's able to change the frequencies in the room that you're in and inside of your body. People who work in sound therapy believe it actually aids in healing and will boost the immune system as well. And then, of course, there's also the spiritual factor that it helps aid in meditation, which is why I use it. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did and want to see more, just subscribe to the Midnight Wolfpack Productions YouTube channel. If you have any questions for me, just leave them in the comments section and I'll be happy to answer each one. Thank you and have a great weekend.
Of me to replace the broken pieces of you.